We got to talk about the Epstein stuff, okay? That's the first and foremost. There's three big things going on with regards to releasing the Epstein list and trying to get it out. There's three things going on. So the first thing over here is that some of the Epstein victims are literally camping outside of Congress and demanding the list gets released, or they're gonna publicly announce it themselves. They're having a press conference.
In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not.
It's interesting because I heard there was nobody on the list but him. I heard he was the only sole perpetrator of all these crimes and no one else was involved, and there's no point in asking about it, and stop looking into it because it was just Jeffrey Epstein, a one-man band.
Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know.
They are threatening that if there's no action, because there's been listen, we talked about this a while ago. This is the issue that doesn't seem to go away. Even if it disappears for a week or two, it seems to keep coming back. There's just simmering anger from both sides of the aisle, regular people on both sides of the aisle about this. They are threatening if no action is taken, because there's this constant stalling and obfuscating and no progress on any new data from the list, then they're going to release it themselves. That is issue number one happening without Epstein list. It's the victims doing a public press conference. Number two is Republican Congressman Thomas Massie. Now, listen, there's a number of things that I would disagree with Thomas Massie on. Probably the main ones are around guns. He's kind of insane about guns. Have you seen his Christmas card? I don't want to throw him under the bus here because I'm going to compliment him, but Thomas Massie Christmas card is fucking insane. This guy's insane with guns. However, I give him full credit, and I'm saying this, full credit. Whatever he believes, he has stuck to his principles. He was the one of only two Republicans to vote against the big, beautiful bill for what it does to the debt. Everybody else that talked about it caved. The second Trump put pressure on him, he caved. He is one of the only people to vote against it. Additionally, he has been forcing a vote in Congress, a discharge petition is what it's called, to get the Epstein files released. And he is receiving an absolutely insane amount of pushback and pressure to try and stop it from Trump and other Republicans. They are doing whatever they fucking can to silence him or shut him down. And all he needs are 6 Republican votes to get it released. And they can have it done now. He's got the discharge petition now. He has 4 right now. If he could just get 2 more Republicans to flip, then we could release all the files. And they cannot get it right now. Trump has gone to war with this guy. Trump vows to lead the charge against him. They are doing everything to stop him. So that's part 2 of what's going on right now. This is like a big live battle. And Speaker of the House Mike Johnson for the Republicans has been cutting Congress early, like sending them to summer break early, ending all meetings before the vote can be taken. He's like doing whatever he can to stop it from even being voted on. So there's like this weird circle of ranks protection that's happening to stop anything happening with regards to forward motion on the Epstein bill. So that's the 2 thing. That's Thomas Massie. And then the third thing is the most insane. It's hilarious. It's wild. So the third thing is that within the past 48 hours, a senior member of the Department of Justice thought he was going on a date with a younger woman that he met on Hinge. It turns out she was an undercover reporter for a right-wing news source, Veritas, and he was honeypotted. And she caught him on tape saying that they were planning to redact all Republican names from the Epstein list before they released it. And that they were giving Ghislaine Maxwell, they were throwing her a bone to keep her silent. So we're going to play the full clip. I want to watch it with you. This is Joseph Schnitt, acting deputy chief of the Office of Enforcement Operations for the DOJ.
Well, those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files. Leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
He does look like Keemstar. Not really relevant, but that's a good point.
The thing is, it's interesting because I do deal with so many of the agencies, like the Bureau of Prisons, the Marshal
bragging.
Service,
Oh, okay.
the FBI. Problem is because he's like, no, these have to be released.
Yeah. So the FBI wants them out.
You have the top two guys that are doing that.
And Bonnie does it.
I don't know what that was.
Dude, it's crazy how insanely quickly a Department of Justice acting chief folded under zero pressure to give up all this information. Like, this is like the worst obstacle I've ever. She's barely asking. It's a first date, bro.
They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files, and have a very slanted version of it come out where it's like, look at what he's doing without releasing any of their bad behavior.
That's insane, right? That is an insane thing for someone at a senior level of the DOJ to say. It's one of the crazier public things to come out. And his instant response, I couldn't believe this, was they put out an apology via a screenshot of an iPhone Notes app on a phone with 30% battery. But this is from the DOJ. This is from the official U.S. Department of Justice. This is their immediate response. And they quote tweeted this. This is the world we live in. It was second date. It was second date. I met a woman named Skylar on Hinge, a dating app. We had 2 dates. She claimed to be an au pair in Georgetown. She gave no clue she was a reporter or recording our dates. Had I had a clue, the first date would have ended immediately and there never would have been a second one. You never would have got that second date from me if I'd have known you were secretly undercover trying to. Of course. What a stupid statement. Of course. My profile indicated I did government work, but I did not specify for which agency. I never discussed what I did at DOJ. But we just saw the clip where you did do that. You did do that, dude.
What do you do for work again?
I work for the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Been there like 23 years. I'm an analyst. I'll be acting deputy chief.
So that's a lie. Even the beginning of this apology is disprovable in the video right below the apology that you're quote tweeting. This is crazy. My comments were my own personal comments on what I've learned in the media, not from anything I've learned or done at work. I have no knowledge of the circumstances surrounding Miss Maxwell other than what's reported in the news. I also never divulge anything about what I do at work. This is false. You just did that. So this is like, it's very difficult to believe. Now, I will say, if this were the only possible piece of evidence in the whole world, I could theoretically believe, hey, this guy wanted to sound extra cool. He is acting deputy chief. He has access. He is a high up at the DOJ. This is not a low-level person. It's senior. Maybe I could be like, okay, this guy wanted to impress this woman. And even though she's from Veritas, a right-wing organization, maybe he thought this woman's a super lib and I gotta impress her with this knowledge. But the problem is what he's saying lines up so perfectly with the actions being taken right now against the Epstein survivors and Thomas Massie. It is the perfect lineup of what they're trying to do it explains the actions and why they're so different from the words. So it makes what he's saying when he thinks he's not being recorded seem a lot more believable. These things are combining to make, like, as I said, it seems like every other story in America goes away pretty quickly. But every time I think this one's gonna go away, it comes back. It's just like at the core of something that, again, all regular people are pissed off about, which is like this weird two-tier justice systems for those elite in especially politics and business. Like there's people at the very top. They feel like they are not applied to the same level of scrutiny or justice. And I think Thomas Massie's quote was very good, which is what he said. He said, this is not going away and this will hurt our party severely. He's like, if we don't take action to get this stuff out, it's going to hurt our party severely. And I agree with that. I mean, I think like there is only one group right now that is really obstructing this. And it basically starts and ends with Trump. Trump and his influence around people around him. So it's all happening right now. I will say, it's very tough to make the case that nothing is going on when they're delaying and obfuscating once this honeypot thing came out. Oh yeah. It's a good finisher. Wait, do you know that clip? What is this? This is Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, the guy who has blocked the vote over and over, including sending everyone home for summer vacation rather than let a vote be taken. His explanation as to why Trump couldn't have been involved is really good.
It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms.
So that is a quick line, but what Mike Johnson is implying is that Donald Trump was an undercover FBI informant to try and take down Epstein. This has never been heard elsewhere before. He kind of just slipped it in there. But what he's implying is that no matter what happens or what comes out, Donald Trump was actually an undercover informant all along, who is part of this incredible sting to take down Jeffrey Epstein, which is an incredible claim. Because if he was part of that back in the 80s, he did a pretty bad job because it took 2 decades. So he was either the worst FBI informant of all time, or it's a very obvious lie. He's a white hat pedophile. The world's first white hat pedophile. I touched those kids because I was protecting them. Truly the hero Gotham needed. Yes. The most recent Quinnipiac poll had 63% at severely disapprove of the administration's handling of the Epstein files. I think another 12% disapprove, so that's already above 70. I think what's interesting is that independents are broadly in agreement that it's not being handled well. They're negative. So it's not just Democrats here. And even, again, this is like probably one of his worst polling issues among Republicans. More Republicans think it's not well than well. And again, unless they're planning on murdering all of these victims they're going to speak out, I don't know how they're going to keep. It feels like a game of whack-a-mole where they're trying to put the lid on the bottle in all these different ways. And the pressure for the truth to come out keeps getting higher. I don't know. It feels like something's got to give. But I guess theoretically, if they can somehow silence the women speaking out and block Massie's release vote and eventually redact and then release their version of the files, they can get away with it. But definitely hoping that that's not the case. Donald Trump says it's time to end the Epstein hoax. Let's see what he had to say.
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but...
Again, the question was about Thomas Massie, who's a Republican, a gun-loving Kentucky Republican who is trying to get the files released. And he is claiming this is a Democrat hoax.
But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now.
We'll talk about the jobs numbers later. That's a separate topic.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough because I think we.
No files have been released. The victims are asking for them to be released. Congress, in this case, Thomas Massie, is asking for them to be released. Nearly a majority of Congress, we need 2 more votes, asking to be released. And Ghislaine Maxwell was interviewed, but only privately, off the record with the DOJ, and then was transferred to a minimum security prison, which is weird. So people obviously want answers. Clearly something is going on. Deals are being made, stuff's being shifted behind the scenes, and we don't get to see the truth of it. I would love if this vote gets forced. Just 2 Republicans, that's all it takes. They already have Massie and they already have Marjorie Taylor Greene. They literally just need 2 more. I mean, the whole point is they want the list released with no redacting. If there's redacting on the list, it still throws more doubts. People are saying they could just lie or make it up, but if they tried to change the list but not redact it, like if they tried to change the list and then pretend they didn't change it, that's a big risk, right? That they're taking a massive risk because then now that's like a heinous crime. That is an extreme attempt to lie. Like that, there's so much scrutiny around it. And again, all it takes is like one guy on a date to leak, and then all of a sudden it's like the scandal of the century. In 100 years, will this be seen as Watergate 2? We'll never have a Watergate again. Watergate could only be as big as it was because of the news environment of the day. 3 major news channels and newspapers, and they focused on it with journalism for a long time. And it was a big story for months and months and months and a huge scandal, and the pressure was on. It wouldn't matter today. It's just not big enough. But even something big today has a much harder time breaking through the noise. But that's what I'm saying. That's why this Epstein thing has been so surprisingly resilient. It just checks so many boxes for the psyche of all different kinds of voters, regular people voters. because regular people aren't billionaire pedophiles. So like to them, it is a uniter across party lines.